The cover of the new single by Eminem, Toby, features an imitation of that Spider-Man meme. So the song features BabyTron and Big Sean, so it's the three of them all pointing at each other. And I was kind of like, isn't that like an old meme? I mean, I'm a teacher, right? So if you're a teacher and you use an old meme in one of your PowerPoints, the students don't go, "You're cool." They just say, all right, Michael Scott, you just keep going. I'm also a father, so if I make some kind of, if I send a meme to my kids and it's using that old Drake thing or whatever, they're not too impressed. So I looked it up. I'm like, is this really that old of a meme? It turns out, of course, it's from the 1967 cartoon, the Spider-Man cartoon, but the meme first really took popularity in the early 2010s and reached its peak in like 2015, 2016, always using that super now cringy impact font with the outline, the same one I use for most of my thumbnails. Ironically, I can't even tell anymore. So it's an old meme. It's an old meme for an old man making an old song, right? Doesn't that make sense that that's what this is all doing? This is where I'm going to go. This is the angle I'm going to take. Way to go, Eminem, being hip and young with the youngs and making a frickin' Spider-Man pointing meme. That is something I could have said, but that's actually not where I'm going with this. I like it. You know why? Want to know why I like it? Because the meme itself was resuscitated by the film Spider-Man No Way Home. In that film, they imitated this meme by having the three actors from three different generations of Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland, all pointing at each other. And in so doing, they recontextualized the meme. No longer is it just a question of cloning or being similar, but it's a question of multi-dimensional, multi-generational, similar, identical brilliance. That's what it is. It's like all of them are awesome Spider-Men and all of them are pointing at each other and they're all the same but of different generations. Which means that using that image for this song is chef's kiss perfect because that's what's happening. Eminem, the 51-year-old Detroit rapper, is featuring the 36-year-old Detroit rapper Big Sean and the 24-year-old rapper BabyTron, and it all matches perfectly. It's not imitating the meme, it's imitating Spider-Man No Way Home's interpretation of the meme. 3 generations of Detroit excellence. I don't know where Boldy James is on all this. In my opinion, he's the best active rapper from Detroit, but that's neither here nor there. Watch my video I did a couple days ago on that. Actually, I did it just yesterday. And that's why I'm here to say I like the song. I'm happy. I'm the always positive new music review show hosted by a French professor who definitely I clowned pretty hard on that last song on Houdini. I still think that song it's not even hot garbage. It's sort of cold garbage. It's kind of cold, bitter, boomery garbage. But this song is wonderful. I listened to it probably 10 times since it come out, including like over and over again. Like I listened to it like 3 times in a row and like barely even noticed because it's just the way it builds is so gorgeous. It's like a posse cut that never overstays its welcome. The great intermissions of people walking up to the microphone, the fact that the first verse of BabyTron just has the little tinkling notes with no drums, and then Big Sean comes on, there's some drums, and then so much expectation, so much anticipation. What is Eminem going to say? You then get the guitar and it becomes super epic. It's just a beautifully constructed song. It's simply constructed, but the way that it's made is it has a thesis. The whole song has an idea, and it executes that idea perfectly, both in the cover, in the lyrics, and in its whole construction. That's not to say I don't have any nitpicks. I will get to some very nerdy nitpicks very soon. Also, it's kind of a neat thing because you have sort of 3 shades. You have the white rapper, Eminem, you have the black rapper, Big Sean, and then you have the half-white, half-black rapper of BabyTron. Maybe it's even also showing the great diversity of creativity and faces in Detroit. Think of Sam Richardson and Tim Robinson, right? Okay, so let's get to this. Let's get to the song. Let's really go into it because it's all really based on this idea of Tobey Maguire got bit by a spider, but me, I was bit by a goat. And it's a goofy idea, but it's an interesting concept that the greatest of all time, right? That's what goat means. Could be some kind of infectious, radioactive spider-like thing that once it bites you, then you take on goat-like tendencies. It's an interesting idea, and I really enjoy it. This is what a goat looks like. This is one of my favorite books. Kako Kaje Koja Koza, Kaje, me. All right? Animals on the farm, the village. And I really like this idea because it works so well with this intergenerational song. And we'll see, it really gets developed throughout the entire track. But this is where I get to my first nerdy nitpick. Now listen, I am a nerdy nitpicker, okay? I don't do it that much on this channel because I try to emphasize my intellectual side, but I'm also a big nerd, okay? Like, I remember watching the movie 40-Year-Old Virgin and getting mad because they tried to have it both ways. They tried to say that Steve Carell's character was a big nerd and he was a toy collector, but then when he actually, like, showed his toy collection, it was all basically worthless. It was all stuff you could just go out and buy tomorrow. So as a toy collector myself, I was like, what the hey? First of all, we're not all virgins necessarily, and second of all, but it bugged me because, like, you can't have it both ways. And so this is why it bothers me. Tobey Maguire was bit by a spider, that's great. And then you have the image of the three of them, that's great. And then it ties into the three different Spider-Mans, that's great. But then they don't follow up. There's no references to Andrew Garfield, there's no references to Tom Holland, despite the fact that the verses do connect. They are clearly speaking to each other. They make references to each other's verses in each other's verses. So why not actually drive home this thing? Is it not perfect? Can you not imagine Tom Holland as BabyTron and Big Sean as Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire as Eminem? It works perfectly. Even with the eras that they became popular, it works. You know, that first Spider-Man movie was 2002. Anyways, that's just a little nerdy nitpick, but it's like they want to have it both ways. Like, I'm going to do kind of like a cool, nerdy thing, but then not really follow up. More to come. If you want space, I hope you take your helmet off soon as you get up, Venus, and choke. I like that line. And then we get to this next line. Now, I said that I'm a nerd and that I'm a toy collector and that scene bugged me. It bugged me because none of those toys are worth anything. Here's a toy that is worth something. Not that much, but it's pretty nice. It's a ESB-21G Princess Leia. It's a nice figure here. And so the lyric that he says is, "My city Leia and I'm Obi-Wan, got a mission to pass." Now, I'm not just limited to action figures. I also have some pop-up books. So let's show you the best version of Obi-Wan. You know, the Clone Wars Obi-Wan with a lightsaber. Anakin, right? Okay, fine. Fair enough. Interesting idea, because Leia does say, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope." But as a nerd, this bugs me. Because the movie's called A New Hope. That's the subtitle that George Lucas added in 1978, 1 year after it was released. It's called A New Hope because Luke is the new hope. Obi-Wan's not the new hope, he's the old hope. So the movie is all about hope, but the hope is Luke. And this is where it really drives me crazy, because then later Big Sean says if he's Obi-Wan, then I gotta be Yoda. Check it out. It's got the Revenge of the Jedi sticker. Cool stuff, right? Super cool. I'm not a virgin. This drives me crazy because we're talking about generational excellence. We have the 3 Spider-Mans, but actually just 1. And now we have 2 Jedi Masters, but they started wrong. BabyTron started at Obi-Wan, who is like the middle-aged Jedi Master in the original trilogy. And now I know he's old, but in the context of Star Wars, he was middle-aged. Yoda's old, Obi-Wan is middle-aged, Luke is young. It tracks perfectly. BabyTron is Luke, Big Sean is Obi-Wan, and that makes Eminem Yoda. They just screwed it up. You can't be the young guy calling yourself Obi-Wan. It messes up the whole thing. It doesn't track. You know? So anyways, it's okay. It's just a small complaint. And maybe they didn't want to do it because in reality, if you think about it, Eminem's kind of looking like Obi-Wan right now, especially with his beard. You know, if Eminem didn't just ferment his beard all the time, he would look a lot like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah, you see this? You see, every day I look in the mirror and I go, God damn, there's too much sugar in my cinnamon sugar beard. But that's just the thing of growing old, Em. You're a handsome man. Just let it go. No one has a beard that monocolor. Okay. If he sees this, now we'll have beef. Everything else I've said, I think he can take. Never tell a man who dyes his beard, you know. They hate that. I've thought about it, by the way. I've thought about it. One day you may turn on this channel and you're going to see me with like a one color beard. And just know I gave up. I'm too afraid of death, so I dyed my beard. Anyways, so it's not the end of the world, but it's like I do like the nerdiness, but then they don't really follow through. It's a rule of three in comedy. It's a rule of three in general. So you can't have two verses connected by Jedi Masters and then have the third with no Jedi Master, because you can't go anywhere, because you can't start at Obi-Wan, 24-year-old. All right. But I really liked BabyTron's verse. I was surprised at how good it was. Before I knew anything about him, before I looked him up or anything, I didn't even know that his father was black and then his mom was white. And I actually thought that his flow reminded me mostly of Drake's flow, when Drake's flow is really good. I really like it. Very skilled. I really like this one line, "We over even the score." Like, great, menacing, fast. It's just a great line. Just really, all the way through. This whole verse. My son, I was like, "What do you think of BabyTron?" He's like, "Oh, I think he's good." And we listened to this verse, and he's like, "Damn, this is really good." Like, he's really upped his game. You want to know the nerdy reference they nailed? The Flintstones. Watch Unc break a rock down to 3 pebbles. Bam, bam, down 3, hit the grand slam. Pebbles and Bam Bam, the 2 kids from the Flintstones. Then we get to Big Sean, maybe a little bit lost in between these two. I'd say his verse is the weakest. "I was immersed in the mercy, show him no mercy." Like, it's clever-ish, but it doesn't quite hold together. I do like how he says, ain't turning me down when my baby is asleep, only time I'm watching my tone. Right now I'm recording this. This is actually the 3rd time I've recorded this. I've had all sorts of mistakes. I recorded outside initially, but it was too hot. Anyways, I'm trying to hope that my baby doesn't wake up, because she's upstairs. She's down for a nap. So, getting ready for July 4th. By the way, if you're celebrating July 4th, I don't do advertisements, but I am sponsored by the United States of America. What should we be proud of, Americans? Is it war? Is it global hegemony? No. The one thing we should be proud of is our continuous democracy. We've got the rest of the world beat by far, with our constant, peaceful transition of power. May we keep that up forever. That's the thing we need to fight for, Americans. Peaceful transition of power. USA. That's why I say USA. Okay, moving on. You may notice here that I haven't got to the Eminem verse yet, I haven't got to the Eminem verse yet because he builds up all the tension. But here I go. I'm going to, after all the suspense, going to talk about the Eminem verse right after I tell you about the time I met Tobey Maguire. It's true. I wasn't bit by a spider. I didn't meet him. I went to the Chateau Marmotte. I went with my brother because he always wanted to go. It's a famous place, a famous hotel where John Belushi died and all that stuff. And I lived in Santa Barbara at the time, so we went down. We stayed there for one night. Ended up being comped because they made us wait for 5 hours to get into our room. It was fine. I was all excited because we're going to see all these famous people. The only person we saw was Tobey Maguire, but it was 2008 and he wasn't even famous anymore. I just felt kind of sad, so I didn't bug him, but I saw him. If you like this video, smash the like bucket, subscribe, type in AVAA if you want to tell me that you think it's an awesome video as always, and I will always heart those comments every time I see them. And yes. All right, let's keep on going. Let's get to the Eminem verse where he's old and bitter. I like old and bitter Eminem. I don't like old and bitter boomer Eminem, which is what we got on Houdini, but I like him because he's angry and bitter, and he's always been. And what is he bitter about? He is bitter about being number one, and that's what I like. I always want a rapper to be angry that they're not considered number one or insist that they're number one. And I like this idea of him being a goat that bites people and makes them filled with radioactive bars. I don't know. I used to dream as a kid I would grow to be one. I hope that I inspire hope. Tying together, you see what I'm saying? He is tying together this hope theme and the Obi-Wan and the Leia, okay? I'm not crazy here. They did fumble the bag on this one. Okay, I'll let it go. I think Eminem will recover some 48-year-old nerd in this house sweating because he didn't get his Star Wars references right. I really just, the whole verse filled with all these great punchlines about the Empire State Building and stories and hate ceilings and Spitfires and flying coach, great aerospace references here. But obviously his best part is where he talks about the top 5 rappers. Ain't feeling your top 5 rappers, so I know I'm about to be pissed at me, but this to me is a mystery. How rappers I've already ripped could be higher up on a list than me. Here I sit on your list, though, at 5, which still was fine. I like this for multiple reasons. One, like I said, rap is a competitive sport. we should applaud when Kendrick Lamar says, "Mother F the big three, it's just the big me." And we should applaud Eminem when he says, "I'm number one and I've beaten everyone who's on this list." That's what we want to see. He's not doing it because he's a jerk or he's arrogant. He's doing it because that's what you're supposed to do in this art, right? But also, he's so specific. I think he's talking about either like a Billboard. I remember seeing a list, and I think Billboard and Rolling Stone both put him at number 5. Matter of fact, I did my top 5 MCs of all time list, or my 5 favorites, and I had him tied with Kendrick at number 6, outside of my top 5. Of course, Kendrick is now probably number 1 because I revisited that take. But it made me realize that number 5 is sort of the natural place to put Eminem. I bet if you did a kind of Metacritic, some kind of like aggregator of top 10 lists, Eminem would be number 5 just overall. That does kind of make sense as to where he's supposed to be, but that's fine. Wherever you are on the list, you have to always be saying you're number 1. And then things take kind of a weird turn. They take kind of a weird turn where he gets into beef with Melly Mel, Grandmaster Flash, and the Furious Five. Now, I saw this on my periphery. I didn't really go into it. But he sort of dissed Melly Mel. If you don't know, Melly Mel is one of the Furious Five. I think... which one is he? God, I don't even know which one he is. That's terrible. Can you tell me in the comments if you know which one he is? I don't know. I know that's Grandmaster Flash, but I don't know which one's Melly Mel. Anyways... This is a great record, by the way. Oh my God, this right here is a quote from Grill Marcus. "The Message is a Reagan record. It has to do with the perception that all pretensions towards equity have been abandoned." Back in 1982, my man Grill Marcus understood what rap was about at that point. Okay, so he disses Melly Mel, and it's interesting because he says he like uses steroids because Melly Mel is an older man now, must be in his 70s, and he is yoked. He is yoked like an egg, all right? He is jacked like a Harlow. He is just like absolute beefcake, okay? So Eminem has some line about him using steroids, which, makes sense. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, who cares? And then Melly Mel comes at him and like attacks him for being white, which he is, and then releases a whole verse attacking him, which is actually pretty good. It's actually not bad. But what's fascinating is, like, in this whole thing, they tell me I should just let it go and slide. Melly Mel should get no reply. That man is a legend, but bitch, so am I. I think this goes deeper. I think this is on purpose that he's bringing this up now. Because he says in this verse, "Get dissed by a pioneer who is one of the reasons I am here." When I teach my class on hip-hop, I have a slide that just says potential goat, where I, like, have a picture of a goat. I have an actual picture of a goat, and then I like fade in a picture of a rapper. And there's a lot of different contenders for the greatest of all time. Kendrick's up there, Eminem's up there, Jay-Z, Biggie, Nas, all those people, all people that you might think. But who's the first contender? Who is the first contender? Who is the first GOAT? It's Melly Mel for his verse from the 1979 song Super Rappin', which then, of course, was taken and reused for the song The Message by Duke Booty, credit taken by Grandmaster Flash. "A child is born in a state of mind blind to the ways of mankind. God's smiling on you, but he's crying too, because only God knows what you'll be through." Right? I could keep going, but I'll stop now. Sorry, my dog was licking. It's a little bit annoying. Yeah. That verse. So I don't edit my videos. This is your first time watching. So I will sometimes get grumpy that my dogs are licking in the middle of my videos. That verse, the famous verse from The Message, is like the greatest rap verse of all time. I think it's incontestable. You can contest if you want in the comments. But what really matters is that that's really what broke through. That's what showed the expressive capacity of rap music. That was proof that it wasn't all going to be just throw your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care. By the way, which was invented by the guy named Cowboy. Whichever one of these 6 dudes is Cowboy, he was the guy who came up with that expression. So I think this is on purpose. He's making a reference to Melly Mel because he was the first GOAT. He was the first goat that bit somebody. He bit Eminem, you know? He, the old school, bit Eminem, and then Eminem bit them, because it keeps going. Because as he says here at the end of the song, with Shady gone, but hey, maybe I am the goat with Big Sean and BabyTron, that's why they be on the shit they be on. So Eminem is biting them, but who bit Eminem? What goat bit him but Melly Mel? Speaking of influential songs in the 80s, he also makes reference to Eye of the Tiger. Eye of the Tiger song playing in my head on repeat. This is funny. I don't know if this is on purpose, but Eye of the Tiger is like the ultimate get pumped song. But it's kind of old, and you might not know it if you're younger. What's the ultimate get pumped song? The song where you listen to it and you just want to just get ready and just go out there and just succeed, you know, just do karate. Lose Yourself by Eminem. Dun, dun, dun. Mom Spaghetti, you know, dun, 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 dun. Mom Spaghetti, dun, 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 dun. Mom Spaghetti. I forget the rest of the lyrics. I know there's spaghetti in there, right? So that's the ultimate get hyped song. But before that in the 80s was Eye of the Tiger. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. So in a way, it's like Eye of the Tiger was the goat that bit Lose Yourself. And then the whole verse about child abuse, about getting the belt. Beautiful way of just taking the word get, which if your English is a second language, it's very confusing. That get can mean to take something, but it can also mean to receive something. If you get the belt, it can mean you either get the championship belt and show it, or you can get the belt, which means that someone takes a belt and whips you with it. Okay? That's the form of child abuse. So, very creative, very fun all the way through. So, there you go. That is my review of the song. The original take that I did was out on the porch just so it could feature this beautiful creature right here. All right? Do you know who this is? This is Toby. Who's a good boy, Toby? You're a good boy. These are my Patreons. They help me buy music, which is very cool. Thank you to my Patreons. And I guess dog food as well, you know? There they are. So anyways, I wanted you to experience Toby. It was very cool of Eminem to make a video, to make an entire song about my dog Toby. He's very hot though. Who's a good boy? Who's not licking on the camera? Yeah, you're not. Not like your brother. Oh, Jesus, I almost dropped my action figures. I almost dropped my toys. I broke my doll. All right. I think we're finally done. I think I'm finally done. Third time's a charm. Till next time, there's the third time. Third time. Oh, did you know every time I say, there's the camera, Toby gets up and gets excited? There's the camera, Toby. There's the camera. There's the camera. There's the camera.